One is just the lack of education so many Americans have about religion, about other people's religions, but even their own. And then there are some who come in who are incredibly knowledgeable, but they've only had one kind of very narrow education, say a fundamentalist approach, and they can quote scripture, passages and verses, so they may be in the same classroom. So teaching sort of that range and getting people past the kind of barriers they sometimes have to a certain kind of intellectual inquiry into a religious text, that to me is another challenge. And I sometimes struggle with to what extent when I'm in the classroom I can call into question or really push when it comes to students' really deeply held beliefs. And I give a warning at the beginning of every semester. Like, you can have an existential crisis in here. You may not think so on day one, but I have seen it when students suddenly realize, like, all the stuff I was taught growing up or the stuff that my church has been saying all these years, it's not what I truly believe, or why did I even think that, or whatever. And I had students in my office who are just, I don't know what I believe anymore. And that can be an important part of the growth process, because you're finally questioning, really. And that, you make a deal when you come to liberal arts college. Nothing is off the table. You question everything, right? We're not like some schools that have a religious dogma that or some kind of really clear religious identity. So that is a real challenge. And sometimes they end up in a beautiful place, but they'll come back and they'll say, yeah, but now I have this conflict with my parents. I don't want to go back to that church when I go home just because I don't believe, that doesn't speak to me anymore. So when you're teaching religion, when you're in this realm, you're raising these questions, it's really has to do with people's lives. It's not just, we learned about them, that group over there. You have to ask yourself these questions. So when people ask why study religion, I'm like, well, there's a lot of reasons. You can't understand the world without understanding religion. Open any newspaper, right? You can't understand your neighbors, or if you're living in a diverse community. So that's also important. But the last piece is self-understanding. These religions are going to make you, if you really open up to their challenge, whatever tradition, you're going to have to start asking you, what do I think about that? Are they right? Might this be true? And it could lead you in this powerful, direction of existential inquiry. And to me, that's a beautiful challenge. It's a challenge, but it's a wonderful one to have, because you realize what's at stake in it.